What's up, everybody? It is the producer and today's primary host of What Is to Be Done on the Applied Theory Network. My name is Joey, as I said, and I am also here with first my two co-hosts, Jay and Grant, and we also have our lovely guest today, Jay, not to be confused with Jay.
This could be confusing.
We'll try to say Austin, or rather, we'll try to say Jay, Tennessee,
and Jay, California. Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna work.
Yeah.
But either way, first, let me get a little introduction for our guest here. Jay, if you would like to go first.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm Jay, California, and I'm a writer, filmmaker, video game designer, and I do media with the California chapter of the ACP. I've been an ACP for a little over a year now.
There you go. And Austin, if you could give a little introduction to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Austin. Been an ACP since December 24 now. I'm part of the national media team. I'm also the Central Committee representative of Michigan. And yeah, a little bit about myself personally. I'm in school right now. I'm using my GI Bill to study microbiology and environmental microbiology. And yeah, that's about it. That's about everything I got interesting to tell you.
There you go.
You have a way cooler background than I have. I'm jealous.
Yeah, all right. Well, one of the things that I wanted to first present to you guys, Jay, you guys in California did a great video, an Epstein effigy burning video.
Yeah.
I'm going to play that for y'all first. And then if you wanted to give a little bit of commentary on how you got to producing this video.
Yeah, sounds good.
The Epstein class is not afraid of the people they govern. While they pillage our economy, send soldiers to die in wars of conquest, and traffic our children for abuse, they laugh at how easily we have been controlled. We fight over pronouns in Super Bowl halftime shows, over culture wars and petty arguments, but these divisions have been manufactured because division is a tool of the Epstein class to keep us fighting amongst ourselves. It is a tool to keep us from looking up at those who are truly in control. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Fire! These are not simply words. When faced with tyranny, the Founding Fathers endowed us with the right and the duty to abolish what oppresses us and to create something better. The question is, can we the people look beyond our differences, or will we pass our enslavement to the next generation? The American Communist Party hereby declares support for any and all who will fight to rid our country from this tyranny of warmongers and pedophiles. No matter our differences, what unites us is far greater. The Epstein class is not afraid of the people they govern, and they laugh at how easily we have been controlled. Now is the time to show them that they are wrong.
Yeah. Awesome.
Goes hard.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's one of the most fun shoots that we've done, I think, for me at least. And we, you could tell it was very epic. We got a lot of people together to do that. And amazingly, a lot of the ACP people were very good actors, because most people are not actual, or no one basically was an actual actor, but they were surprisingly good on camera, which is not always a given. But in terms of like how that came about, I mean, this kind of started with an idea from RCC rep Huey, and he had just kind of been talking about this as something that we wanted to do, and we kind of spent a couple months sort of just coming up with ideas, and he really is the one who kind of pushed this through and kind of rallied everyone to do this, and we organized a big trip out to Nevada. and we're able to get a large group of people together and film it. And it actually, you know, for as filming goes, for people who haven't been on a film set before, filming is actually like typically a very like slow, laborious process. You know, something like that would take 12 hours to shoot minimum, but we moved very, very quickly. We ended up shooting that in about, I think, 3 hours start to finish. And there's, as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, we had, me and another guy, Tucker, we were like up on a hill and to film those cars coming down, like the line of trucks moving down, and we had walkies and stuff. And so we were able to move very quickly because I mean, like ACP is able to mobilize and do stuff. So, but yeah, I feel very happy with that one, and was, very happy to see the reception of it too, because that one just, it just blew up when it dropped. We had Jackson Hinkle and Christopher Halali and some others posting it, and I think within 24 hours we had like 2 or 3 million views, which was, we were on the news. I think it was in Argentina, so it was a cool experience.
Actually, that's kind of interesting. You were on the news. Well, our party generally was on the news in Argentina, nonetheless.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, because I'm not familiar with Argentinian news, but someone was sharing around that there was some broadcast where they basically were covering politics in America and showed this video on there. So it could have been picked up in other places for all I know, but we definitely saw it there, which was cool. It was fun to see. And I'm the voice doing the narration as well. So it was bizarre to hear my voice on Argentinian television.
Yeah, I can imagine. The closest I ever got into news, they didn't put me on because I was a little too scary calling myself a communist. I was at a data center thing, protesting against a data center being put in Vincent Township, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
This was a while ago. But yeah, so great stuff coming from California in regards to y'all's media. But that isn't the only chapter we have today. We also obviously have Austin and Michigan. You guys, and I should have put the video in today. Actually, I might be able to do it real quick. Give me one moment while I am speaking here. But you guys did a video about y'all's greenhouse, which that is some incredible work you guys have been involved with. While I'm grabbing the video, could you go into details of what the greenhouse that you guys are doing and how you're like doing media coverage of it?
Yeah. So it was a lot less planned. I kind of just run and gun with the camera. Honestly, as much as I love doing media, I kind of hate being the media guy, because like everyone will be busting their ass working, and then you're just standing there with a camera, and I feel kind of bad. So I kind of hate doing it, even though I love making the videos. And yeah, I kind of just run and gun with the camera and just get a bunch of shots. I kind of have I'm basically the sole media guy for my chapter. So a lot of the vision for all this is just in my head. It's not really like I have a meeting with somebody and plan all this out. I have a vision for just what I want to see. I know the message that I'm trying to deliver, and then I kind of just collect the shots that I think I'll need. I don't focus too much on having the perfect shot or anything like that. I think if we were going to do a media project like California did, it would have to be planned out a little bit more, because that's not something that you can just run and gun. You can't light an Epstein effigy on fire over and over again. You can only burn it one time, But for us, we're just grinding in the greenhouse, so it's easy to get plenty of footage of everybody. And for that video, I tried to have a like a dynamic pace to the video. Like it started off with the work, and then it ended with our shooting and camping. So it's kind of like the idea was kind of like to set the mood one way, and then kind of like have like a little bit of a burst of energy to maybe get people pumped up. It's kind of like music, it's like you got to have like the little bit softer stuff maybe to kind of like balance it out with the heavier stuff. So that was what my vision was for it. I think it came out okay. Jackson ended up sharing it. I was pretty proud that he thought it was good enough to share. And yeah, it pretty much captured what I was going for. I wish I would have got more shots of the night shooting. That was pretty cool, but we try not to piss everyone off firing guns in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was incredible video. So much so I'm trying to get it as quickly as possible. Turns out I didn't download the video at all, so I am in the process of downloading the video. So I am not ahead of the game as I normally am. But real quick, Jay, while I'm trying to grab this video for us, I know you guys have sent a series of questions over for the California and Michigan chapter in regards to media. Would you want to run through that first question?
Sure thing. What got y'all interested in filmmaking? We can start with Jay first.
Yeah, sure. For a second, I did get confused. I was like, I'm supposed to ask you questions? I have a list because the Jay thing. Yeah, what got me into filmmaking? I mean, I have been making movies since I was a kid. It's kind of hard to say exactly what it was that got me into it, but I just remember when I was, in like 4th or 5th grade, saving up to buy a movie camera. This was like before, everyone had just like camera phones, and saving up to buy a movie camera. And that movie camera came with editing software like packaged with it. So it was like, oh, you got the camera and the editing software. So just installing that on my computer and starting to film stuff, filming my friends, filming my parents, and just really just messing around and trying to like almost like deconstruct like movies that I saw and then figure out, okay, well, how did they make it look like this? How did they do this scene? I remember, taking a scene from Pulp Fiction and making my mother and father act it out. And it was just like, which is so insane looking back on, like, but just like doing that kind of stuff to try and see like, oh, okay, so if the camera, if it looks like this in the movie, how do I put my camera in a place where that shot looks similar? And then, I've just been making movies for a very long time. I was lucky enough to be from Florida, where actually, contrary to what people would think, we actually have a pretty good like public university system there, where if you make decent grades, you can get basically like you go to college for free at a state university. So I was able to go to a film school there in Florida and go for free because I knew even at that young age it would be very stupid to like go into any kind of debt to be a filmmaker. So I got to go do that, and then just have just been shooting stuff with friends, and then moving that into kind of being able to do it at a professional level, and then making my own projects on my own, and then now stuff with ACP.
Awesome. What about you, Austin?
I started off as just a hobbyist photographer. I liked to. I really didn't even post anything I did for the longest time. It was really just for me myself, and I would maybe share with Facebook with maybe friends and family or stuff. And for me, it was just kind of, how it is with men. We don't really like to share our feelings and stuff. It was, I guess, probably like an outlet at some level for me to like create something that was like kind of matching the mood I felt or whatever. And just over the years, I kept collecting gear. And finally, when I got into ACP, I really felt like I had I started doing like, I would just like volunteer to be the guy to like photograph stuff. And I had all the gear, so I finally kind of had a rhyme and reason to put the stuff into like a use for like some sort of next level production. I say next level over just doing hobby stuff and kind of moving into like more of a professional. Not that they're like grade A masterpieces or anything like that, but producing something for someone. And yeah, it kind of steamrolled. I just kept collecting gear. That Best Buy no interest card would serve me well. You buy a camera and pay it off over the year, and then next year get yourself a new thing, and ended up just with a bunch of gear.
Well, thankfully you got that gear because we have that video now, and it is pretty good quality what you guys are doing up there in Michigan. Let me show you that.
Thank you. We're out here today in Saginaw County, putting work into this greenhouse, getting it cleaned up, getting it back online, turning it into something useful. The goal's simple: make it operational so we can grow food, flowers, and resources for the community. This is part of our Dual Power program. It's a strategy that brings together workers, skills, connections, and tools. We use what we have to do what we can in our communities right now. And when things begin to break down, we're building an independent authority that keeps on working when other things won't. Join today at acp.us/join. Okay. That was actually the last one I made. That wasn't the most recent, but that's okay. That one ended up okay too.
My mistake, but I have to say that great stuff that you guys are doing in the Michigan chapter. And see, this is one of the things. I had a little brief stream on my personal channel, and this is one of the things I brought up just earlier, that you have to like intertwine your strategies, your role strategy, your chapter enterprise strategy, your media strategy. Merge everything together into one coherent strategy, basically, to get everything out there. Because often you're producing more work for yourself when you're having all of your different things done separately. This makes it a lot easier to do a lot more work with a lot less effort, So really, really cool seeing what you guys are doing. And yeah. So, Jay, you have some more questions for our friends?
Yes, sir. And a quick comment. Here in Tennessee, we do social investigation quite a bit in these rural areas, and then we turn that into journalism. It's like a cycle. Put it out, do the investigation, put it out, kind of thing. Tie it all together is a really good idea.
I was just going to say on that too. It's something I definitely think about a lot in California, is that like really the purpose of the media is it's in a sense not media for media's sake. It's all got to be to serve the party and to really like highlight the work that we are already doing. And so it's like it's just not about just like, I mean, it's fun to create cool stuff, but it like you were saying, Joey, it really does need to be aligned with the strategy and the work, so that because you could go in too many directions if it was just like, oh, let's just make cool stuff. It's about like telling the story of what the party is doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that, you guys are both California, Michigan, and all of our other chapters across the country right now. They're doing a really good job actually putting out the kind of work that all of these chapters are doing right now. If you guys are not paying attention, make sure you're following all the different chapters so you can stay up to date on what each chapter is doing. Because otherwise you're missing out, honestly. Dual Power is being built right in front of us right now, and it's just an eye shot. You just gotta hit a little hit those buttons on X and maybe Instagram and what have you, and check it out. Now with that being said, Jay, I know you have some more questions, but Grant, just out of curiosity, what are the things that you're seeing from these different chapters that you feel should be duplicated here at other chapters?
Well, what I really like with regard to California in particular is the fact that they leverage their pre-existing connections. And Jay, well, I know this having relatives who lived out in California and are connected to the entertainment industry. So Jay, I'm sure you can attest to this, but the scene in California is a lot of the studios out there and a lot of the theaters are actually mom and pop shops. They're not all big industry, right there in Hollywood. So the fact that we have members of the party in that region who are leveraging those already existing connections, reaching out to family and friends, or using those connections they already have to put together these productions. Even if we go beyond the scope of traditional filmmaking, we also have personalities within the party out, using California again. Malumbo is doing great work. Observers and viewers of our channel might also have seen, because they also probably follow the ACP at large, we have a record label out now, so that's one thing. And also what I like with Michigan's chapter is how involved they all are in the process. They have that reputation. They're combining the work itself. I mean, what we just saw with that greenhouse video, for example, it could be summed up as it is the party at work. It shows the audience who we are, what we're about, and it also it gives that candid opportunity to let our cadre shine. Especially when you add masterful editing techniques and these great shooting techniques, and make it look as professionally done as humanly possible like that. So, yeah, I mean, you guys are the masters of this craft, though. I mean, and I could even speak from being on the media team with you guys that, your guys' expertise is frequently looked to.
100%. The next question I have for y'all is, outside of the ones we've already shown, what are some other notable projects y'all have done with the party? We can start with Austin this time.
I would say just the amount of inter-chapter collaboration that we've done in Michigan. We haven't been afraid to cross state lines to go meet up with other chapters, going to New York, Illinois, coming to us even. We've done a little bit of traveling to go work with other chapters. We travel a lot just to go to the greenhouse. And, here shortly, I'll be meeting with the Russians again for Russia Day. So we've done a lot of traveling for the party. We've gone to Chicago now a few times. We were there for Victory Day. We were in the Christmas party for New York, which was a lot of fun. I would say that we've been just having a really high level of dedication in Michigan. We're really dedicated to the party. It's definitely intertwined with our lives a lot. It's not just like a sidebar thing that we do every once in a while.
Yeah, I could definitely relate to that. Every day I'm waking up and doing party work nowadays. I'm to a certain extent already professionalized cadre. So, every single waking moment, I'm thinking, all right, what can I do for the party? How can I, get good media out there? How can I get, their syntropic farm to the next level? How can I, do social investigation to try to, build some community project or what have you? Look, when you're joining the ACP, and especially if you are cadre, you're thinking about this stuff 24/7. It's not just, I wake up, I do my 9 to 5, I go home, and then maybe I do like a reading group or something, and then I don't think about the party for the rest of the week or whatever. Like this is like our lifeblood, honestly, making sure that this party is not just effective in communities, but people through our media are actually aware of what we're doing as a party. So, I 100% agree. that I don't even think it's just a Michigan experience. I think that is a cadre experience across the whole entire party.
Communism is really like a disease in that it gets into you and it's a fever that enters you and doesn't leave. And I'm a relatively new communist, actually. And it was for me like a eye-opening, awakening experience where it really did, just like you guys are describing, it kind of possessed me, and it made me realize like there's something so much bigger than myself, and there is actually a way to make meaningful progress in the world to like improve your community, improve your country, improve the world. And once you kind of have that ultimate red pill that is communism, it really it is hard to wake up and think about anything else, because you're like, okay, I could think about this frivolous stuff, or I could think about this thing and work on this thing that's going to change the world. And it's, the choice is pretty easy.
I absolutely agree with you, but our ops are totally going to clip that communism is like a disease.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean that in the best way possible for anyone, to provide the context, but just in the sense that it seizes you, it really does feel like it seizes you in a way that is deeper than intellectual or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jay, you want to move on to that next question you got, my friend?
Sure, sounds good. What was your most notable projects inside the party outside what we've already covered, Jay?
Yeah, one that had an interesting reaction was we did a video a while back. I think it was late last year, about our fitness program that we started doing here. And that one sort of inexplicably got picked up on Fox News at one point, and Stephen Miller was talking about it. And so that was an interesting experience to see. I was actually, I had flown home for like Christmas or something, and I was with my dad, and I like landed and started getting all these messages like showing the clip on Fox News, and my dad was like, "How have you been?" I was like, "Well, we're on Fox News. That's kind of interesting." And so that was like I said, that was an interesting experience. And really the most offensive thing about that was that they called us Democrats. They tried to like draw, they were like, we were the commie boot camp that was like, they were trying to make us look like we were like this fringe wing of the Democratic Party, which obviously was, annoying. But
I think this is useful though for us, because we can say that liberals are calling us Trump supporters and the Republicans are calling us Democrats, so they can't both be right.
Exactly. No, it's we occupy this weird middle ground where no one really understands what we are yet, because in terms of people who are just kind of tangentially paying attention. So you can call us anything you want, because ACP really is this new force that is kind of like just upending the way people think about communism.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have the we'll call them the Yahtzees for the algorithm, so we don't get busted for that, saying that we're a bunch of brownoids or whatever, and then you see the majority of us are white, and then you have a bunch of leftists that are freaking out, like being all these people, they're the Yahtzees actually, and
Yep.
Meanwhile we have multitudes of pictures and videos of us that are very racially diverse in certain chapters and things of that nature. So it's just like, which one are us?
It is truly comical. We're too white for the leftists and too brown for the Yahtzees. Like each one is like, and it's like, okay, yeah, this can't. Maybe we just actually represent America. That might actually just be what's going on here.
Yeah, exactly. It's so interesting. You always see these contradictions that these folks put out, and that's the thing, is like these leftists don't even realize, and likewise these Yahtzees don't even realize that they're collaborating with each other to try to fight us. And it's the same way with the Republicans and Democrats. They like to pretend that the real bad boogeyman is, you know, the blue team, and the other one's the red team. But in reality, they always are collaborating and working with each other. Not just to, you know, fight the Communist Party, the American Communist Party, but also just to fight the working class, keep the proletariat down, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, with those critiques that the Yahtzees and the leftists have, they're both coming from that racial paradigm, which shows they're actually collaborating with each other, where it's like they're wanting to think about things from the paradigm of race, which is why we confuse people so much. That, you know, I saw you guys talking about this in the Right Brain episode that you did about how we're just like not interested in putting race forward or doing any kind of tokenism, even when we could do that to like win points. It's like just completely antithetical to what we're here to actually do, which is unify Americans behind one with you know, one thing that can help the entire working class.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jay, outside of the party, what kind of projects have you been involved with?
Yeah, I'd say that the biggest one right now is I just recently completed a feature film that I wrote and directed. So that was a big undertaking. It's called Bluebird, and we just had our oh yeah, awesome, yeah, that's a still from the movie. It was a big undertaking. And we just had our festival premiere in Brazil. I was there playing the film, and have played some other festivals, and now kind of in the process of like releasing the film and doing all of that kind of stuff. And this is, for me, is an interesting film because I wrote this before I became a communist, and I look back on it and it feels like a film that was written by someone who was a communist and didn't yet know it. I showed some comrades from California came out to a screening that we had in Phoenix, and one of them, Huey, our CC rep, after the film, because I told him I was not a communist when I wrote it, and he right after the film ended, he looks at me and he goes, "I call bullshit. I think you were a communist." And I was like, "Yeah, it's crazy, man." So anyway, this film will be coming out later this year. And you know, it's kind of like this surreal, slightly Lynchian sort of, I guess, anti-capitalist, like about what it's like to live in the contemporary world, but it's kind of wrapped up in a mystery about a girl who disappears and this guy who has to go try and find her. And there's kind of weird like experimental video games that contain like elements of the truth, and it's sort of this bizarre winding mystery set in Los Angeles. So
that sounds right up my alley.
From the way you're describing it, it sounds like you were born for the party.
You know, I do feel that way. I feel like when I started reading works by communists, I really was like, I didn't have the language for it, but I always kind of felt this way intuitively. And like, especially like when I read Mao, it was just like, oh, this guy is giving words to all these things that I'd like almost like grasped at in like an emotional, intuitive way. But then and then I just basically discovered, oh, there's people who have been studying this thing, like, and there's a whole like intellectual theory of this whole way of living. So yeah, I definitely feel like I was born to be a communist. And that my ops will clip that when I get arrested.
Yeah. I can honestly speak to that too a little bit, though, like that idea of like the ideas are coming together before you actually have a name to determine what ideology you would adhere to. Because look, I'm in a similar-ish boat in that I became an ML probably like a little under a year before I joined. But I actually came from the libertarian kind of pipeline, and eventually through a discovery of Jackson Hinkle started getting more into the weeds and becoming interested in the MAGA communism strategy. And, you know, at a certain point it hits you like, oh, shoot, the whole time I was actually an ML and I just didn't know it, like on an intuitive level.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I would have basically described myself as apolitical up until becoming a communist, which is a very funny, like apolitical to communist, just direct pipe. It's like from the most like vanilla to the most extreme. But really looking back, the reason why I was apolitical is are we allowed to cuss or should I not cuss?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, okay. I basically I knew before I discovered communism that all of these political parties and ideologies were bullshit. I just knew that they were full of shit in some way. And so I wasn't going to sign up for anything. I wasn't going to be a Democrat. I wasn't going to be a Republican because I just could see that they were all lying. And then when I discovered communism, you know, because the truth of communism had been concealed from us. Like I had a version of communism in my mind, which now I know was not really communism. But when I discovered that, the thing I loved about it was that I felt like it was the first political ideology where I didn't have to be fake. I didn't have to lie. Communists don't have to lie. We're scientists about the world. And so, yeah, I just immediately was drawn to it.
Yeah, I mean, my own political journey is also very strange because on one hand, I was a very left-wing guy. Like I was put in the progressive camp. I used to call myself a libertarian socialist or whatever, follower of Kyle Kalinske. And I believed a lot of the Democratic stuff when it came to COVID in 2020. And actually, COVID is really what radicalized me and sent me down the path to become a communist. And I kind of took a right-wing turn in some people's view just because, you know, I did everything right when it came to COVID. I wore a mask. I made a homemade hazmat suit. I was taking COVID very seriously, sanitizing all my groceries as they came in the house. And then I got COVID anyhow. And that's what just like set me off. And I'm like, okay, well, apparently this whole system's bullshit. And I first became an anarchist for a very brief period of time. And then I discovered communism through some sources that will not be named, but bad historical track record with that group, but eventually led me to infrared. And when, you know, today I'm a full-time cadre of the ACP, right? You know, this system sends so many different people down completely different paths, whether it's more conservative or libertarian or, you know, burning crap progressives or whatever, that just feel like they gotten screwed by this system in so many different ways that they just, you know, they start opening their eyes and like, well, if they lied to us about COVID and they lied to us about all the wars and they lied to us about, you know, Agent Orange and they lied to us about, you know, various other things, well, maybe they lied to us about what communism is. And that starts opening up people's eyes.
Yep. If all of these institutions that are lying about everything, if the ultimate boogeyman, the thing they are most afraid of, the thing that the 20th century has basically been about fighting, is they're saying it's bad, maybe, guys, maybe it's actually the good thing.
Oh yeah. You also did the ACP Film School, correct?
I did. Yeah. We a couple months back, I organized for the California chapter. We had a film school where I kind of went through some basics of, you know, how to film stuff, how to take sound, also some narrative and media theory stuff. Cause that's a big thing that I like to kind of encourage is, you know, to me, it's as important to have good quality shooting and sound as it is to be thinking about what actual narrative you're trying to convey. You know, you can just like go and say, oh, this is something we did, but you can also find a perspective on that and tell it from a specific perspective. And that's what really good documentarians do is they're able to take like, which I'm not saying I'm a really good documentarian. I'm actually relatively new to kind of the nonfiction filmmaking, but like you really good documentarians, they can go into a really complex situation, like a war with hundreds of thousands of people fighting, and they find that one person that they want to tell the story from their perspective, and they figure out why they're captivating, and then they figure out, okay, this person, here's their hopes and their dreams, and here's how life has disappointed them, and here's how the war is affecting them, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we covered a lot of that stuff in the film school that we did in California, and then it's so far it's been effective. We've had a couple people who've come out of that who have really like upped their filmmaking skills, and it's something I'll probably try and do again in the future, just because it's I think it's good for everyone in the party to have sort of at least basic media skills. So if you're the only one there at an event, you at least can, like, maybe you can't film the whole thing, but you could take some pictures. You could take a better picture than you could otherwise, or do an interview or something like that.
The cool thing about
Austin,
as soon as you enter in, you get a chance to learn a bunch of new skills, whether it be media or ham radio. Speaking of which, Austin, if what outside of the party, I know that you're a veteran like myself. I was more involved in the journalism end of media than the film end of media. Have you been involved in any projects before the party that I know you mentioned that it was more of a hobby in terms of media or filmography, but outside the party, what other notable stuff have you been involved with?
As far as media, not a lot, honestly. I back some years ago when I was kind of more of just like a general leftist, I started using my camera to take pictures of honestly DSA people and stuff like that when they were doing stuff at the local UAW, and I would just take the photos just to take the photos because it felt like I was taking photos of like important things. It was kind of like a documentary thing. It kind of tied in with like what I like to do in like street photography, for example, just capturing everyday life and documenting it. And yeah, that's about it. I was mostly just a hobby photographer. I didn't have a lot going on for like big media projects or anything like that. Even like the cinematography kind of style shooting is somewhat newer to me as well. I really came from doing photography for the most part.
Austin, I gotta ask you, with your experience, how does your military experience, if it does, shape your desire to really get involved in the media end of things and sharing the party's message?
Well,
how do we, does the desire of to fight the imperialist war machine drive any of that desire to counter its propaganda?
Yeah, absolutely, and not just in media, but everything I do. Seeing the other side of it definitely gives you a little bit of perspective, and it gives you the motivation and stuff too to get the work done. When you're in the military, you learn to have a little bit, move with like a certain sense of purpose, and to have a sense of urgency when you do things, and to have a little bit more accountability with communicating, with organizing, and make sure things are going to be where they're supposed to be, and showing up on time, and just a lot of the real basics that people who are in the civilian world didn't get hammered into them. When you don't show up on time to a formation or something like that in the military, it's, you get cooked pretty good. It's not just push-ups. Sometimes they could start docking your pay and stuff if you keep messing up. So it really does get hammered into you. It gives you a sense of anxiety a little bit. I had to actually start showing up late to things on purpose, just being like, all right, I'm not going to care so much, because I would stress myself out and showing up to events, trying to be on time and rushing, and I'm just like, you know what, man, everyone else is going to be 15 minutes late. I'm just going to get there when I get there. But, you know, it still carries with you a little bit. And yeah, absolutely. With the media stuff, it's like, I like making my own propaganda. I like making something that makes people, you know, feel something.
Hell yeah, man. You definitely are very good at it. Austin, where did you learn filmmaking?
All self-taught, man. I just started working a camera, starting with the very basics, how shutter speed affects things, what your ISO is, when you should be using what aperture, things like that, and just steamrolled, kind of a little bit of a obsession. I got really into it for a while, and yeah, man, I just really like trying to convey a message with even just the smallest of things that you could do with a camera.
Hell yeah. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I would say mostly self-taught as well. I did go to a film school, but I specifically chose this film school because it was not a very classroom focused film school. I knew, like, I just don't enjoy sitting in a classroom and hearing a lecture. It's just like, I just immediately want to leave. So it was a very hands-on program that we did, where we just basically got to make a bunch of projects, and we would get thrown onto, okay, today you're going to be the cinematographer. Tomorrow you're going to be the producer. The day after that, you're going to be the person taking sound. And I had been shooting my own stuff, but had never held a boom mic before, had never tried to sound mix at any professional level. So I learned a lot just through doing it. And then just making my own projects. And I feel like, I feel like I'm still learning stuff, you know, going through the process of making a feature. After having finished that feature, I kind of look back and I was like, do I even understand anything about storytelling? Like, I need to, like, I learned so much that I almost could look at it again and be like, do I know anything? I don't know. So it's always a learning process for me.
Same for me, man. Like doing audio stuff is so foreign to me. Like I try my best to like get good audio, and like that's a whole game into of itself. Like, for example, when you showed the video that I made for the last greenhouse video, when I'm pouring the coffee and it makes the little coffee noise, I just inserted that. It was just a noise from CapCut.
That's awesome. The what kind of equipment do y'all recommend for newbies? Either one wants to start Jay's equipment.
I mean, you know, honestly, I wouldn't get too obsessed about equipment if you don't have any kind of budget. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, damn, I got to like get the right, you know, got to get the right lens, got to get the right camera. I mean, for sure, having nice camera, nice lens, those do add things. But you can shoot great stuff on your phone. Honestly, like for any chapters out there that are wanting to up their media game, the number one thing I would say is get a wireless mic, get a mic for recording sound, because bad audio is way worse than bad video. And many a video can be ruined by not having good audio. And there's like, if people want to look it up, it's like DJI is a brand. They have these, it's called the Mic Mini. Yeah. Is that what Austin's wearing right now? Yeah, they're great. I have a couple of them. I've got some sitting around. Those are excellent. I think you can get one mic for like $50 and you can get two for like 70 or something. And so for $70, you'll have everything you need to do. You can be the interviewer and be interviewing someone, or have two people that you're interviewing. And it will truly, that filming on your phone will make you can make a high quality professional video with that.
Yeah, I agree, man. People will put up with bad video. They will not put up with bad audio.
Yep.
And also for equipment, man, you know, most people have like high-end, like newer iPhones. Like, don't get me wrong, an iPhone's not going to produce necessarily the same quality that, like, you know, a cinema camera will. But man, they can produce some really good stuff nowadays. Like, the most important thing is learning how to work that camera. Yeah, you can just turn on your camera and hit record and it will record, but dig into your settings a little bit. There's some settings in there, you know, for example, like on the iPhone, there's the Apple ProRes. It gives you like a log shooting, and it'll come out very flat looking, and it needs a little bit of editing, but you can really hammer away at the colors and kind of make it moody or whatever it is you want to do. There's a lot that can be done with even just an iPhone. And if you are going to start going into cameras, maybe lean towards lenses first. If you have that kind of money, lenses are always a little bit better option than necessarily spending a bunch of money for a camera. If you do got the money for it, those things can get pretty pricey though. You know, you want to get an adjustable lens, and you know, you could easily start spending $1,200 to $2,200.
Jay,
Yeah.
do you have any recommendations in regards to those settings for Android users?
I haven't used an Android phone in a bit, but if there's a way to shoot in log or raw, these are like formats that sort of capture the most spectrum of colors. That would be something that I would recommend, because then, like Austin was saying, you can take that image and you can really change the colors a lot in post-production. And I would say, to build on what Austin was saying, like, before you get too obsessed over gear, like, develop your eye. Your eye as a filmmaker is more important than the camera you use, because, you know, you just use your phone and experiment with, you know, shooting low angles, shooting, you know, over the shoulder shots, figuring out all these different shots you can do that can really take your filmmaking to the next level without needing to get more gear. Like something that I talked a lot about in the film school was like, just like a simple hack for people, if you want to like up the quality of the stuff you're filming, is film wide shots, wider than you would think, so that the subject is small and you're getting the environment, and then zoom in and get close-ups closer than you would think. So if you're cutting between like a wide shot, kind of a regular medium shot, we would call it, and an extreme close-up of, like, if you've got someone who's drilling on something, get a close-up of the drill entering the wood and seeing the thing spin and all that. And if you've got a wide shot, a medium shot, and a close-up, you can cut that together in a very compelling cinematic way.
And take into consideration not just your subject, but what's around your subject too. You know, a good rule of thumb is to consider the foreground, your subject, and the background. If you can manage to get your subject placed in between a nice foreground and a nice background, that will really enhance the shot quite a bit, rather than just having your subject alone and not with something else interesting. Like, kind of adding on to what Jay was saying, you want to give your viewer context so they can build up like a mental picture of what's going on. So like, if you do give that establishing shot with a nice wide angle, and then you get in for a close-up, they kind of have like a mental picture already of what the environment looks like, and it really kind of puts you in that video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's excellent advice. Thank you all so much. I'm sure that's going to help a lot of folks who are just getting into this. So what got y'all into Marxism-Leninism? I know you talked a little bit about this, but we can start with Austin.
I started off pretty young, getting into Marxism-Leninism. My mom is from Puerto Rico, and a lot of my family from over there was very into like the pro Puerto Rican independence and stuff like that. So when I was growing up, I would hear a lot about that. And like, one of their heroes all the time was Fidel Castro, and Che Guevara. So I kind of like grew up with that kind of stuff already in my ear. So I kind of already had like an openness to it. And I was already very like into it, even though I didn't have, until later in life, I didn't have the greatest like complete understanding of it. You know, I knew it was about sovereignty and about autonomy for people, but I didn't quite have the complete picture. I viewed everything very isolated. Like Latin America had its own issues, and then, you know, whatever was happening in the Middle East was maybe something separate. It wasn't until later in life when I started building the complete picture and understanding how American hegemony works. So, you know, I The thing is, though, is I didn't think that because I had that young understanding of kind of like what Marxism, Leninism looks like through like Fidel Castro and stuff. I didn't see anything that looked like that in the United States. So I didn't think that that was even like really a possible thing. I didn't think Americans really understood it because, you know, a lot of leftists are more into like identity politics and stuff like that. And so it's never something that I really ever pursued because I just didn't think it existed. It wasn't really until ACP when I think it was like I seen Eddie explaining something on Midwestern Marx, and I was like, holy shit, wait, this guy fucking like gets it. Like this is what I grew up kind of like listening to them talk about. Like it's about the material. It's not about you know, just like these identity politics or whatever. And it's not even just about higher wages or whatever. It was about, you know, about sovereignty. And you know, in between those 2 points, you know, I've bounced around on the political spectrum, so to speak. You know, like dabbling into liberalism and social democrat. I spent a lot of time with that. I did a lot of I helped start the Michigan Bernie Sanders campaign, basically. Yeah. So I was on that actually, like before even Bernie announced. I helped start the thing because I knew he was gonna announce his running, and we ended up winning the state here in Michigan. And so I think we did like a lot of good work, but obviously, you know, I became very disillusioned after 2016 when he went back to Hillary Clinton. You know, I was really expecting, you know, he during the campaign, he kind of like put the knife in her a little bit, but I was ready for him to just finish her. I was like, fucking finish it, man, you know? And no, he didn't. He stopped his assault, so to speak, on the establishment and then capitulated to it. So I was very disillusioned after that, and I became very lost. Even when he ran again in 2020, I voted for him, but I wasn't like excited about it. I didn't have any hopes or anything about it. I became very kind of like nihilistic almost, just kind of worrying about myself, not really thinking about politics much. It was all kind of a joke to me.
Yeah, that's I had a similar trajectory from that point. I started back a little bit earlier, but yeah, definitely had a trajectory of similar disillusionment. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I would say probably the catalyst for me was the pandemic, similar to Joey. I before the pandemic, I probably had just a latent, naive trust in someone who runs the country is trustworthy, right? Like, you know, it's this whole thing isn't corrupt. I just never really thought about it. I just kind of assumed that that was the case. And then going through the pandemic, you know, we had a particularly harsh lockdown here, almost a year in California, where we basically couldn't do anything. And then also just seeing how the government, the media, and the pharmaceutical companies were just fully aligned in these blatant lies about the science of it and how effective that propaganda was. You know, I would say I was a pretty like hardcore like COVID I don't know, like on the other side of it, in terms of like I was literally you know, emailing universities in Spain that were doing research on alternative treatments and being like, well, wait, this treatment is supposed to work, but why is the media saying this other thing? I was, whatever, I won't get into all of it, but I was very, that opened my eyes a lot. And I basically just like, you know, would see people saying, well, you got to trust the science on this. And I was like, I've literally read the papers. Like, what are you talking about? Trust the science. You're saying trust the science, but what you are actually saying is trust the news, which is paid for by pharmaceutical companies, which are trying to sell you something. So that really, I think, probably put me into a very nihilistic place where I was like, oh man, okay, these systems are totally corrupt. I can't trust any of this. So I guess the world is just totally fucked. And so I had a couple years of kind of trying to make sense of that. And just, I guess I was politically awakened, but didn't have any guidance. And then, I'd been following Logo Daedalus on Twitter, and I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian basically, and he was talking a lot about the connection between Christianity and communism, and this was this thing where I was like, really, communism and Christianity have this like this shared spirit to them, and just was like sort of just absorbing it, not really taking it in. But then eventually I was like, all right, I got to read this Michael Hudson guy that he's talking about. So I read Killing the Host and some other Michael Hudson, and I just was like, whoa, wait, is this really how the financial system works? So like we are basically in this like it goes completely to the top, the corruption. And then from there, I think I probably found ACP through Logo. I don't exactly remember, but I know he was talking about it. So, and then once I found that, okay, not only do I agree with this stuff, but there's this other group of people out there who all have this kind of shared mindset. That really gave me a lot of, made me really enthusiastic, because, it's like sort of demotivating when it's just you can be like a crazy person in a room, just like on a computer doing a rant on the internet or something. But then when you find out there's so many other people actually working towards something. So heard about ACP, watched videos with basically, all of our leadership, and just to be like, all right, do any of these people seem like full of shit? Do any of them seem like, I just wanted to really understand, because I was so cynical at that point. And it really, I felt like all these guys got it, and then I joined.
I thought of something when you were saying how the liberals were telling you to trust the science, and I thought, okay, fine, I will trust the science of dialectical materialism.
That's an excellent introduction to our next question. I mean, first, I want to say congratulations. I mean, like, look, Hawes has talked about this here recently. At the juncture of Bernie's running, it did make sense for people to, at the 2016 point, it made sense to support him as a Marxist-Leninist. You know what I mean? But not you were at that point. But if we would have gone back, it would have been like, well, this is the bet we want to get to. That point will be better for the American people. However, obviously he was a sheepdog. He was just trying to get us into the Democratic Party, and he, has a lot of bad views on actually existing socialism. Nonetheless, how does filmmaking? It's a very dialectical. It's motion. It's about beginning, middle, and end a lot of times. Although not like Pulp Fiction, as you mentioned earlier. But oftentimes there's a narrative structure that's chronological. And so, how do you feel that's? Does this particular medium give you any special insights into Marxism?
I mean, I don't know. This was, I would say, for me, maybe a little more than filmmaking is writing, because I write as well. And I don't know if it provides any necessarily special insights, but I will say that dialectics and Marxism in general is an incredible tool for a writer, because all of the, you can, like, when I write stuff now, I am always thinking about like contradictions that exist between characters, and some of those are not not principal contradictions, and some of them are, and so how those get resolved is kind of actually like a narrative is kind of, you could do a really interesting Marxist analysis of like the actual like process, the nuts and bolts of writing a story, so that's definitely like it has helped me. And even like understanding, because I think, obviously Marxism, Leninism gives you a lens of what I would view as like viewing reality in the best way possible. And then all these different masks that are on top of it, like propaganda and all that kind of stuff, which comes in for me a lot as like a fiction, when I'm writing fiction, of like thinking about, okay, what are the power dynamics at play here? What are the political systems? Where is class an element? Where is race an element? And yeah, kind of interpreting it through that lens, I guess.
What about you, Austin? Have you feel any like particular parallels between the medium of filmmaking and Marxist-Leninist science?
Yeah, but I haven't really had the opportunity personally to like explore that, because the footage that I take is very like documentary, very straightforward. I'm not really like, I don't quite get the opportunity to convey as much as, like, I really like filmmaking and like recording and stuff like that. And I wish I had the time and the space to do more with it. And I would like to, like, you know, create something for maybe just even for entertainment values that does show like tensions and stuff like that. But for the kind of work that I get to do, it's very straightforward. So unfortunately, no, not really.
So in one of our adjacent discords that some folks who are present are part of, we had a film, a study of a documentary and a book that was done by the North Korean government about film, and it's extremely good. If I don't remember the name of it, if anybody in the comments does, you know, feel free to post it. But it was cool to see how they analyze filmmaking from a Marxist-Leninist perspective, and I recommend that to folks who are interested in that.
Maybe a future Red America article, like the hero's journey in Marxism or something. I could definitely see that being an interesting, if people are familiar with the hero's journey, like the whole Joseph Campbell thing. I'm sure there's an interesting perspective in there somewhere.
Oh, for sure. Kurt Vonnegut, the way he talks about story structure too is very interesting.
Yeah.
So what upcoming things can you tell us about? Should we be looking out for?
Don't be scared to fail. I would say, like, you know, if you see the opportunity to get an interview with someone who might be important, don't be scared to ask people. Don't be scared to talk to people. Don't be scared to use your own voice on like a voiceover for your video. A voiceover really enhances a video. A lot of people we're in the media training chat, they're making videos and we'll be like, throw a voiceover over it. And I think a lot of people don't like their own voice. I think it's pretty common, but it's just like something that you should jump over and just deal with it. Because, you know, a narrative over your voice over a video, you can really control the narrative of a video that way. If you don't have that voiceover, it kind of leaves it more open to interpretation. And that way people, haters, whoever, can do more with your video without that voiceover. When you have that voiceover and you're not scared to put your voice out there, you can really control the narrative a lot more. So I would say the things you should be looking out for are any opportunity you can to control the narrative.
Hell yeah. Any projects you got coming up also?
So getting footage of the greenhouse is a perpetual thing. I don't have anything special planned out, but I'm constantly collecting footage, drone footage, even, just constantly showing the update of the work. So I don't want to keep putting out the same video of you guys seeing us tearing out shit at the greenhouse, because a lot of that has to be done. But, you know, I'd like to start showing some of the progress that's being made, us building, not just tearing out.
Hell yeah. Jay, what about you? Any projects coming up? Any advice for folks?
Let's see. In terms of projects, I've got, like I said, I've got this feature film coming out later this year. So it's called Bluebird. If you're interested to kind of, you know, we're going to have, we're looking at having like a limited theatrical release for that. So it should be at least hitting some big cities, and then it'll be on some streaming services after that. So if you're interested in that, follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting updates about that as we get closer to release. Jay Arden Black is my Instagram. I'm also going to be releasing in the next couple weeks some short, I don't even know what to call them yet. Almost some like experimental, like stories, almost like oral. Yeah, hard to say. These experimental stories that I'm going to be releasing. So I'll probably be posting about that on Instagram, and I'm going to have a YouTube channel where I'll be putting that stuff as well. So yeah, feel free to follow me there if you're interested. In terms of advice, yeah, I mean, basically, similar to what Austin said, like just, to quote Nike, just do it. Like, just go out and like film stuff, get in front of the camera, get behind the camera. In my opinion, the more people we can have, ACP members getting out and doing things publicly, whether it's like podcasts like you guys are doing, that's so great, or just like being on your local chapter's media, or doing your own thing. Because, we were talking about this a little bit before we started filming, but like, I think it's very like we want to cast a wide net in terms of people that we're attracting to the party, because it's like we were talking about, like, the party should really represent America. And so the more of our members who we can get out there, even like Austin said, if you don't like your voice, you think you're awkward on camera, okay, well, maybe if you're like more of a shy or like introverted person, maybe someone will see you on camera and be like, I'm kind of like that. I don't like, I'm more of like a bookish, don't feel so outgoing, but you will appeal to someone, and that will make them feel drawn to the party. So yeah, definitely just get yourself out there. And the only way to get comfortable on camera or filming is to just start doing it.
100%. What are your all's favorite filmmakers? Who, Jay, go ahead.
Ooh, okay. So like I said, I've only been a communist for like 1.5 years, 2 years. So it's the sad reality of especially Hollywood, that when you actually look into some of these filmmakers, you're like, oh no, they're like a hardcore Zionist or something. So I've take some of these with the non-communist lens that I fell in love with film, but for me, I love Scorsese a lot. Like, I just think he's a very, I'm almost scared to look into him too much to find out I don't, when I discovered Jerry Seinfeld's personal views, I was like, no, like Seinfeld was like my favorite show. And then like, now I can't even watch it when he's like talking about he doesn't care about kids dying and all this. I was like, oh God.
What's the deal with Gaza?
Dude, it's so crazy. There's like, if you've seen it, there's like someone being like, well, what about all the kids in Palestine dying? He's like, I don't care. And I was just like, oh no, why, Jerry?
Not only does he not care, he attended a counterinsurgency LARP camp of grown-ass men who like, like are like pretending to be shooting at it's
terrible. Yeah.
It's,
so so yeah, Scorsese, I love Scorsese. David Lynch is huge influence for me. I like a lot of Spike Jonze is amazing. Being John Malkovich in Adaptation, these are like great films. I like a lot of stuff. I mean, now kind of movies are terrible. That's a sad thing. Like, I don't really enjoy going to movies anymore, but there used to be a time when I loved big budget Hollywood movies. Like, I genuinely do think Titanic is a great film. Like, no irony there. And then I love bizarre, experimental, Michelangelo Antonioni, weird Europe, Italian art films and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's something to be found in all of them.
Oh yeah. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, it's kind of like the same boat. I also like David Lynch, but it's also like, and it's kind of cliche at the same time. Like, but I really like Tarantino, even though he's a scumbag. But
that
like,
and lives in Israel.
Yeah.
And is married to an Israeli pop star. It's like, dude. It's I know.
It's bad, man. But the films are so like, I love everything he does with the films. I really like the A24 studio and everything that they come out with, man. Like Midsummer, I love that. I just recently watched. I think it was an A24 movie that just came out. It was like Obsessed or Obsession, one of the two, something like that. That actually was kind of decent. I just kind of wandered into it, but I didn't plan on seeing it, but it was a good film.
Eddington. I gotta give a shout out to Eddington. Eddington is one of the few recent movies where I'm like, I think it's at the level of like peak good Hollywood. It was. I remember, because I like Ari Aster a lot, and I heard he was doing a COVID movie, and I was like, I do not want to see a COVID. This is going to be so annoying. And it was the only take on COVID that I think could possibly have been good. It was perfectly done. It was, he's a master for sure.
Unfortunately, man, the United States is just great at making movies, man. Nobody else nobody's really touching us. Although I recently watched I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie Triple R. It's like an Indian film.
Dude, yes, RRR. I love that movie. I love that movie.
That really opened me up to some Indian films. I started kind of exploring some Indian films.
Yes.
Because that was just amazing, man. It was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
But man, unfortunately, we're just good at making movies, and unfortunately, almost all of it's propaganda at some level.
I know. I hope that ends up ultimately being a strength, is if we get we have all these talented filmmakers here, and we can get more and more disillusioned filmmakers to kind of start to be a counterforce to that, and eventually, when things turn, we can be the ultimate communist propaganda machine.
We need to make we need to make Hollywood red again.
Yes.
Well, here's a neat little aside too. That also when our audience is done watching this stream, and something for filmmakers, with potential filmmakers in our sphere and other artists to maybe take note of, you could actually find Mosfilm, like Moscow's own Soviet era state sponsored basically state production company, which is still around in Russia today. They have a YouTube channel where they upload old movies of theirs for free.
And also, I mean, let's give a shout out to our friends at Right Brain as well. I mean, those guys are putting together all kinds of niche films and foreign films that honestly wasn't even accessible up until the work that they've been doing. So yeah, shout out to Right Brain. Great guys.
Those guys, those guys seem really cool. And I talked with them super briefly. Just some people in our chapter had set up a call, and when I was in Brazil with my film, just kind of hopped on a call for a couple minutes. They seem super cool, and the interview you guys had with them was amazing. And I'm really excited to go jump on their service and check out, like, especially the DPRK cinema they were talking about. I was like, damn, I've literally never seen a film from the DPRK, and like the fact that they've got a bunch of them on there, it just is very exciting. Similar with the sort of like revolutionary Africa cinema that they were talking about, sounded really cool. So yeah, it's great. That type of stuff is so important to like what they're building, and then building out these networks of filmmakers and starting to be a counterforce to this hegemony who can tell the alternate side of the story. Because I mean, like they were saying in you guys' interviews, I mean, stories are so powerful, and there's a reason why Hollywood has wanted to control the narrative and has controlled the narrative for so long, and has confused people about what freedom and democracy are in the American sense and what communism is. It's all just a story. And so we just have to tell the real story.
Hell yeah, man. So this is the last question I have. And it's what are y'all's favorite Marxist works? You can start with Austin.
I know this isn't explicitly Marxist, but the one thing I just finished reading was Michael Hudson's Super Imperialism. I mean, I consider him kind of a Marxist, honestly. Let's be real, but just the totality of the information inside that book and the picture it paints is like one of the most like sobering things I've read. So I mean, honestly, like that's just fresh in my mind right now. And it's a little bit of a thick read, so it took me a while to get through it. I'm the kind of reader, I have to, like, I'll read something and I have to go back and reread the chapter because I realized I just spaced out and was thinking about fucking like what I'm having for dinner. But yeah, I got through it and man, it was good.
Yeah, for me, Mao is what immediately jumps to mind. I like I said before, man, when I discovered Mao, I just love how he thinks. It's like he's like a poet and a scientist at the same time. He's just like simplicity and clarity on practice is like one of my favorites. It's just a masterful work, I think, for honestly, for anyone, even who's not, if you have no interest in communism, no interest in Marxism, but you just want to get better at things, go read Mao's On Practice. And he just literally, almost like a psychologist, breaks down the mental process of learning an idea for something, putting it into practice, testing it, find out what does and doesn't work, and then that feeds back into your mind, and then that feeds into the practice. It's just an amazing essay.
Thank y'all. Grant, Joey, you guys got any more questions?
Yeah,
no questions, but I'm just glad that the both of you could take time to come on our program today. You guys, it's like I said earlier, pretty much not only in the media team, but even in CC Austin, you guys are doing great work. That's continuously recognized, and we were glad that you could come on today and share your insight and share your expertise and give our audience a picture, as kind of a follow-up to the last episode with that was done on this show, to really delve into media strategy.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me on and us on. This was really fun, and yeah, I love what you guys are doing with the show. So keep doing it, and it's a great way for people to just be exposed to, like, a more casual kind of perspective of being an ACP member. And yeah, we got to get as many ACP people on this show as we can. So I'm always happy to come back on if you ever want me on, or help you guys find some other people. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate that. And look, you guys are doing awesome work out there in Michigan and California, and we love to have you guys on the show again. Look, this party is doing incredible work, and applied theory is one of the many mechanisms that we can try to highlight this good work that the party's doing, and also just highlight that we're not big and scary. We are normal people. We have our own internal party culture, and we want to share it. We want to share it with everyone. And yeah, thanks again for coming up on the show, guys. It was great having y'all. And that is what is to
Good
be
night,
done.
guys.
I'm scary.
We're spending billions every year for guns and ammunition. Our army and our navy dear to keep in good condition, while millions live in misery and millions died before us. Don't sing my country, 'tis of thee, but sing this little chorus. Should I ever be a soldier, beneath the red flag I would fight. Should the gun I ever shoulder, it's to crush the tyrant's might. Join the army of the toilers, men and women fall in line. Wait, slaves of the world, arouse, do your duty for the cause, for land and liberty. Yeah. And many are maiden pure and fair, her love and pride must offer on Mammon's altar in despair to fill the master's coffer. The gold that pays the mighty fleet from tender youth he squeezes, while brawny men must walk the street and face the wintry breezes. Should I ever be a soldier, beneath the red flag I would fight. Should the gun I ever shoulder, it's to crush the tyrant's might. Join the army of the toilers, men and women fall in line. arouse, do your duty for the cause for land and liberty. Yeah. Why do they mount their Gatling gun 1,000 miles from ocean, where a hostile fleet could never run? Ain't that a funny notion? If you don't know the reason why, just strike for better wages. And then, my friends, if you don't die, you'll sing this song for ages. Should I ever be a soldier, beat the red flag, I would fight. Should the gun I ever shoulder, it's to crush the tyrant's might. Join the army of the toilers, men and women fall in line. Wake slaves of the world, arouse, do your duty for the cause for land and liberty.